Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty on the
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene, and welcome to the feed. We're here with Stu Fuchs, the ukulele man. We're going to have a great time today. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to be talking about ukuleles, didgeridoos, and the magic of music in Westminster West. Mm-hmm. All right.
I know, that was an intro. We are up in the game in 2025.
All right. Marty with local events.
Local events. At the Bellows Falls Opera House this week is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. How did we get to 3 Sonic the Hedgehogs? January 24th through the 28th. The classic movie is Tender Mercies. Robert Duvall, who I love, and I haven't seen a lot of it. I've seen a lot of his older movies, or like when he's older, I should say. So interesting movie. He plays a country music star, a down and out country music star. Imagine that. And that is sponsored anonymously. So the other kind of there's not a lot on the events happening this week anywhere. It's kind of that lull time of the year. But there is a pretty cool thing happening at the Opera House on Sunday. It's called the Vermont Movie. It is a kind of a documentary series. It's happening this Sunday and a couple of other subsequent Sundays. The movie itself will start at 2 o'clock. The doors open at 1:30. And after the movie, they'll do a Q&A session. And basically, the movie is about a lot of the history of Vermont and how we were very much on the cutting edge. Well, we certainly were the first to abolish slavery, and how we were very much on the cutting edge to giving people freedoms and rights, and especially in the gay and lesbian community, with being one of the forerunners on civil unions. And if you watch the trailer, there actually is a little screen that pops up that shows all of the firsts that happened in Vermont.
Really?
And it's really kind of interesting. So that's on Sunday. Again, it's the movie came out in 2013, and then there'll be some subsequent Sundays. I think they show part of the documentary series. They'll do a Q&A on it, and then I think the next 3 Sundays, you can see the rest of it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Interesting little known facts about Vermont.
But here today we're going to talk with Stu Fuchs.
And get interesting little known facts about the ukulele.
Yes, and talk about the ukulele. Stu's doing some things with Main Street Arts in Saxon's River. A transplant to Westminster West.
Good to be here in your studio, and good to be here in Vermont.
Oh, it is always good to be in Vermont.
For 6 years. So yeah, good to be here with one of my ukuleles. Yeah. Or as it's pronounced in Hawaii, ukulele.
Ukulele.
You know, the ukulele is known as a Hawaiian instrument, but its origins actually it's a Portuguese instrument.
Oh, really?
There were sailors on their way from the Madeira Islands to work on sugarcane plantations, and they arrived in Honolulu Harbor. They even know the date. It's January 23rd, 1879. There's this boat called the Ravenscrag, and there were some master cabinet makers and instrument builders on it, and they made this long, arduous journey around, this is before the Panama Canal, so they had to go all the way around South America. They finally made this 4-month journey. They came down the gangplank singing songs of Thanksgiving. Joyful celebration as they came down the gangplank, and the locals said ukulele, which means the gift from afar.
Oh, neat.
And it also means jumping fleas. They thought the fingers looked like fleas. So that's how the ukulele came to Hawaii. Less than a week later, news of this little instrument spread throughout the island, and the king and queen King Kamaha and Queen Liliuokalani found out they were known as the Merry Monarchs. They were singers and dancers, and Queen Liliuokalani took to the ukulele, and she wrote over 300 compositions, including this one you probably know. Aloha E. So that is her composition, and that's how the ukulele became synonymous with Hawaii.
Wow, and it became part of the royal family, the royal tradition then, or royal family.
Yeah, but these days, people around the world are turning onto the ukulele as a really accessible way of making music. It's a very easy instrument to get started on. I mean, in 20 minutes, I could show you how to play some songs with just one finger. In fact, just the open strings themselves already make a beautiful jazz chord. So that's what I love to do. I'm like a Pied Piper. I like to turn people on to their innate musicality. I did it for many years with percussion and guitar, and for, almost 20 years now, I've been doing it with the ukulele, and online and also in person.
So what made you choose the ukulele? Like how did that, you gave the origin of the instrument, but how did you happen to choose that as your because you're listed as a ukulele minstrel?
Yeah.
How did you
It's a good story. You know, it's actually going on 24 years now. You know how cold it is today? I used to live in Buffalo, New York, and it was a day like today. It was January 2001. And it was so cold. And in Buffalo, there's very little sun through the winter. So at least here in New England, we get a lot of sunshine. And it's just, there's the seasonal affect that sort of really kicks in. And I'm riding a bus downtown to my job as a substitute music teacher, and on the way home, I'm shivering on my way back to my apartment, and I see in my friend's music store window this little tiny guitar. It was a soprano size. You know, ukuleles come in 4 sizes, and it was a tiny soprano, and it just seemed to come hither. And I stood there with snowflakes melting on my face for a few minutes before my buddy knocked on the window and said, "Come on in." And so I picked it up and I fell in love with it. And I started to take it on the bus. And I would just, start strumming songs. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing, the whole bus would start singing, "It's gonna be all right." So it was a way, I saw very quickly that this instrument is very accessible, easy to play. You can, of course, play more advanced things on it, but it's very nice to get started on, and it just instantly creates community. It's been called lightning rod for community.
I was thinking it was like it's a happy instrument. It seems like you can play sad stuff on it, but it seems like it lends itself to happy.
It does lend itself to
Yeah,
happy.
it seems like it's more. It just when you started playing in the origin and the history, and it's so cute. It's just little cute. So
Yeah, it's the least threatening thing to ever be made out of wood. That's what it's called.
True.
Yeah.
So 4 strings instead of 5, right?
Yep. Now there are 4 different tunings. There's 4 sizes of the ukulele. There's tiny sopranos. Those ones you really cradle like a baby. Slightly larger is a concert. And then this is a tenor size. And those are all tuned the same. This is a high G tuned ukulele. I didn't bring my low G tuned ukulele, but that's where the 4th string is down an octave. The shape's very much like a guitar, so if you play guitar, it's like really easy to pick up. That would be a D chord on a guitar. It's a G on the ukulele. It can be a little confusing with this high string, but you can do some amazing things on it because of the high note. You can put 2 notes right next to each other. So instead of playing, you can make them overlap. So it has similarity to a Baroque. that style of playing is called campanella, little bells that overlap. So it's much like Baroque guitars.
So would that have been from the European, the Portuguese influence, or
Yeah, and many of the traditional Hawaiian songs, like this one, use that effect. Because the instrument itself doesn't have a whole lot of sustain, so any time that you can make the notes overlap, it's just so lovely. On a low G tuned ukulele, it's much more like a guitar, So sometimes it can be a little confusing, this high G string, like why is it up an octave? But it's easy to see why. It brightens up the sound, makes it light. And then there's one more size called a baritone ukulele, which is a slightly different tuning, but. So it's a lot of fun, and I delight in sharing how to play it.
Did you?
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, did you teach yourself, or you had? How did you? Is it that similar to a guitar that it was like really easy to pick up?
It was relatively straightforward for me, but there's always new things to learn. I've been playing guitar since I was a little boy. My dad was a classical guitar player. He was an amateur. That's and not an amateur, but an amateur, which Latin for one who loves, amor. So I've been playing guitar all my life, and so the ukulele just it sits naturally in the hands of someone who plays guitar a lot, and it's very easy just to get started. I offer classes online at my YouTube channel, which is called Ukulele Zen. Ukulele Zen because meditation is a big part of my life, and I like to teach people how to practice in an intentional way, where, yes, we're striving for a goal, but we're using one present moment at a time as stepping stones towards our goal. And it's a very relaxing way to practice. It becomes less stressful. I also offer retreats. Every year I offer a 5-day retreat called the Ukulele Zen Retreat at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York, and in some other places around the country. So that's a place for people to not only practice music and have a great time together, but to have to turn their music practice into a mindfulness practice.
Now Rhinebeck is known for other musical things, isn't that? The name resonates with me, but I can't remember why.
I imagine Pete Seeger probably did some things there, with
Yeah,
all the Hudson River Valley folk music. There's so many great traditions come out of that area.
Now, did you play classical guitar before you took this, or did you play rock? Because you said you had a band.
I did. I played some classical music. So I love to translate that onto here, but I did come up on Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, Eddie Van Halen.
I had that suspicion.
The holy trinity of, gotta bow down to Eddie, whether you like Van Halen or not.
You do.
He
truly
changed.
do.
He changed
You truly
guitar
do.
forever. And I also in my band at that time played the music of another guitar hero who I love, the great Django Reinhardt.
Yes,
So
yes.
I played that music for many years in a band. We had a great run in a
Did you have,
gypsy
like-
jazz
Yeah,
band.
I was going to say, did you have gypsy jazz?
So we got to do some pretty amazing things, playing with symphony orchestras, touring around the country, and sounds fun.
That's great. Amazing.
But all that said, it's wonderful just to be here in Vermont. I enjoy the cities and I enjoy traveling to them. And there's something so special about after hours and hours of travel and coming back
back to
home,
Vermont.
closing the car door and seeing the stars. It's like, wow. So beautiful to be here. Yeah.
So you offer a class, or you're in the middle of a class right now at Main Street Arts?
Yeah.
Jumpstart your ukulele. How's that going?
It's going great. The class is a 6-week class. It's open to all levels, whether you're brand new or you have some experience. I teach in a very step-by-step fashion. And we're strumming roots-oriented songs, things that, you strum 3 or 4 chords. We're also learning how to pick melodies and do more advanced things, some finger picking. I'm almost certain there's going to be another session of it, probably starting at the end of this month, next month, February. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And what are you getting for ages? Is there, you get young, old? What is the demographic that you're getting right now?
Oh, typically, I'd say 45 plus, but I always see the kid in everybody, so I think we're all still 8 years old, inside.
It's true.
But,
well, some of us are 12.
But yeah, the ukulele is friendly, very friendly instrument for older hands because it's smaller. The strings are softer, unlike a steel string. These nylon strings, they're a lot easier to push down. Very accessible. So yeah, I'll be offering that again at Main Street Arts, and I'm pretty sure if you go to mainstreetarts.org, you'll find out about that.
And isn't there a concert coming up here in a bit, like middle February? Or yeah, I thought we.
Yeah, we're really excited to offer. So my wife Sarah and I, we used to tour around the world with a singer. We have a soon-to-be 5-year-old son, and we're going to be offering a family concert altogether on Monday, February 17th. It's going to be a family palooza.
Nice.
And it's a fundraiser for Main Street Arts. It starts at 2:00. There's going to be about an hour or so of arts and crafts, and there's going to be an instrument petting zoo.
Oh, interesting. Great idea.
So whether you're like 5 years old or 75 years old, you can check out an instrument, try it. There's going to be drums and different things to try out. Then we're going to play a concert of family sing-alongs. It's going to be very interactive. There'll be some songs about peanut butter. There'll be some songs about songbirds. It's going to be very, very fun. And then after our set, another wonderful artist, Tara Murphy, and she has a drumming ensemble called Amaya. She's going to be leading some drumming and dancing, African-inspired drumming and dancing. The whole event will be about 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., so I hope that families in the area will come. It's going to be...
Is that school vacation week?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I was just thinking 2 o'clock's an odd time, and then it dawned on me it's probably school vacation week. So what a great thing to kick off vacation week.
Monday the 17th. Right in vacation week, and right in the middle of the day. So it's after lunch, before dinner, convenient. We tried to make it that way, so as many families can come and join in. And Sarah and I also, with our little boy, we lead a bi-weekly family music class at the Putney Library in Putney, Vermont. So that happens the second and fourth Saturday of the month. Second and fourth Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at the Putney Library. And that's geared for newborns to about 5 years old, but all ages are welcome. We have someone who shows up who's in her 70s, and she sings along. We have a great time.
Wonderful.
Playing together. So.
That's cool, because music is it's one way to be mindful. It's a way to kind of do something that or it seems like it can be very stress reducing. To have music, so to either listen to music or play music. I've not really played a lot myself, but listening to it, and I think that we need more avenues of mindfulness. I know on your website you talk about healing music. Is that a different realm of what you do? Is it just the gist? Is that when you do your retreats, you use music for mindfulness? Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yes, that's a great topic and something we could talk about for a long
Forever.
time. But and there are many wonderful people right here in this area who are also doing healing music work. For me, it began in that way. I used to take my father's guitar into the woods. I would be, bullied at school or something would be upsetting me. And I remember being about 8 or 9 years old, and I would take his classical guitar to the woods. I didn't know how to play, but I would sit and I would play one note at a time, drum on it, and just make sounds, and it would make me feel better. Not only because of the vibrations going into my body, but it was something about stopping and listening to the present moment. It just helped me to express and move through feelings. So yes, the healing nature of music and its power to bring us back to the present is something that's kind of baked into all that I do, even when doing vaudevillian stuff, to stuff that might be labeled more, quote, healing music. It's all healing for me. And so yeah, that's the place I try to serve from in my lessons. When I was living in Buffalo, I had the great honor of being able to do that for cancer patients. For 8 years, I was an artist in residence at Roswell Park Cancer Institute. There was a wonderful federal block grant that funded 12 different artists at 2 different hospitals. And we would go around to the rooms of patients, and we would offer healing music and arts activities to patients, to families, and to hospital staff as well. There's a big research center there too, so we would sometimes visit the labs and just offer people a break from what they're going through with their healing process, give them a chance to do something reflective. And it was always patient driven. So sometimes we would visit a patient, and what they shared with us would drive the nature of what we did. So
Amazing. I wanted.
He wants to
yes,
hit
I
a dig- I
was,
know Mike has been chomping at the back.
I
That's
was
a good
curious
segue.
about the didgeridoo. I shouldn't even have said what it was. I was curious about this piece of wood, this hollowed out piece of wood.
Sure.
If that's what it is, it might not even be wood. It might be a gourd, right? Or-
it's a no-stringed ukulele. So I didn't want to pack the whole kitchen sink with me, but I wanted to bring one other instrument. And speaking of, the work at the hospital, this was a big part of it. The didgeridoo is an ancient instrument. It goes back almost 30,000 years. There have been remnants from northern Australia. The archaeologists have dug up didgeridoos that go back that far. It's a hollow tube. So there's nothing in this. It's just been called a tube in which the soul can resonate. You play it by buzzing your lips. And I'm talking about it now because once I play, I won't be able to speak. And there's a technique called circular breathing. And I'll share a bit more about that and how that's very healing for the lungs and also provides a meditative focus. So this is the didgeridoo. I'm sure the microphones will pick it
Okay,
up somehow. Yeah.
That was cool. I could literally feel that. Like you can feel the didgeridoo.
Would you touch this part? We feel that, right?
Yeah, I guess the
Yeah.
resonation, that was very, very cool.
So it puts a deep vibration out. So the Aboriginals of Arnhem Land in northern Australia, this is their tradition. There are many different names. I know didgeridoo is what the English settlers called it. That's what it's usually referred to. I think yidaki is another name for this. And it's a powerful grounding instrument. Not only to listen to, but to play. The process of circular breathing also is one of the only exercises that strengthens the soft palate, the back of the roof of the mouth. So there have been a couple of peer-reviewed scientific studies that have shown how playing the didgeridoo, circular breathing, for a certain amount of time every day can help to sometimes completely reverse and cure sleep apnea.
Nice.
And it can also help to just reduce it enough that there's greater blood oxygen levels. It's a great massage for the diaphragm. It's great deep breathing. It is a yogic pranayama. It's a breathing exercise in and of itself. So, yeah.
Unfortunately, I was not paying attention to the time, and we are like literally almost out of time. Which we knew this would happen. We talked about it before we started. We would get so into the content that we would lose time.
That's what the didgeridoo was supposed to do. It's literally
Well, it did it.
to stop
did
time,
it.
to
There
bring
we
you so
go.
much in the present that you forget time. But here we go.
So you can,
All right.
we hope you come back, and,
All right.
and we'll
We'll have to
continue
say
with
goodbye.
didgeridoo.
Play us
you.
out.
Play us out.
All right, that's it, community.
See ya. I hope you had a real good time. Hope we get to see
Very good.
Hope you get to see you again.